today's America, right? You've got an administration that is actively kind of not removing America from the seat of global hegemon, but more taking them away from, or trying to get away from, the responsibilities of being the global hegemon.
It's a reevaluation.
But still getting all the benefit and reputational benefit of being that position.
Well, quite.
They quite literally want their cake and they want to have their cake and to eat.
I think so. It's the sort of give me the Nobel Peace Prize, but
I'm not going to do anything.
But also, I don't really want to actually give you money or this or that.
I don't care unless it's for my personal gain.
Yeah. Well, that's the government by ego, really, isn't it? But
again,
but there is this interesting element to the current administration, which is that, for the first time in history, we have this kind of mad dog president who is unpredictable, and you could, in the sort of chaos theory and all that, you could sort of say that it keeps people on their toes. It's a sort of, what's he going to do next? And it keeps people guessing. And it brings people to the table in a way that it might not were they more predictable. Obviously, there's a whole load of cons that...
I actually think the number one... Because, again, like, on the face of it, to an American, they might see that as a benefit and be like, yeah, well, we're keeping the rest of our allies on their toes. And as a result, all the NATO countries in Europe are, like, spending more in defence. All these other
There's a kind of schadenfreude to it, right? Of, like, for years and years and years, America was the great kind of bankroller of...
And they established themselves in that position.
Yeah, true.
They took that mantle willingly.
No, it's true, but then you've got to think, from the perspective of your sort of average American Joe, he might be looking at it going, and your average American Jane as well. They might be looking at it going, well, hang on, I don't really fancy my tax dollar going to supporting all this kind of all these foreign conflicts. And so they might quite enjoy the sense of the rest of the world going, is America going to help us out? Are they not going to help us out? What's going on?
Well, I think it's like it. To me, at least, I feel like that doesn't really ring as anything but a petty experiment. Because obviously, all of America's power and kind of like, the strength of their economy, or I say strength of their economy, we'll cover that in another situation, another episode.
Yeah.
But their whole image of strength and their image of stability and everything is built on them having global influence and being that stable partner. Obviously, that gold standard with US dollar is like
it's the one
is the one. But I think when you have an administration that just quite frankly doesn't give a shit about international relations at all.
Yeah.
They don't care about how they're perceived. They literally just want to be like, you're still going to give me all the benefits. I'm just not going to give you anything in return, and you're going to like it.
Yeah, the kind of sort of
It's just kind of like
the Trump. The way that Trump would do business is the way he's trying to do government. I'm gonna screw you out of what I can screw you out of.
And while you do have examples of I think actually I would say, Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron in particular play the game with Trump very well in the sense that they know they have to kiss his ass every single time.
But there's that interesting thing with Starmer. You kind of think. Trump himself obviously has a real kind of affinity with the UK. He's got his own Scottish roots. He's got his Scottish golf clubs and all the rest of it. And there is a slight sense that it doesn't really matter who is at the wheel.
As long as they give him some pomp and ceremony.
Exactly. I mean, you couldn't really look at Starmer as being a particularly sort of appealing to Trump in any way. I mean, he's just a sort of blank slate. But because, as you say, because he gives him the two unprecedented sort of 2 state visits and the big tech deals and all the rest of it.
But we also have to look at what he then gives you in return once you give him that, once you stroke his ego a little bit.
Well, we did get we get
the trade deal.
We did get a pretty good trade deal.
You get all the kind of stuff off the back of that. So, but it's
we've got a far better deal anyway.
We're going from a US that is focused on strategic strength and having a strong network of allies around the world, primarily in Europe, but around the world, who obviously enhance them economically because they buy American weapons or they pay into the American economy with trade deals and things like that. And we're now going into a situation where, I mean, again, you sort of band around the word like dictator and stuff. I don't think we're quite by definition there yet.
No.
He's on the way to it though.
Yeah, January 6th was a big was a landmark moment.
You also look at the dismantling
his sort of
certain
journey,
institutions in America
in his
now
journey
as well.
towards. Yeah.
I think we're on the way to. I mean, yeah. There's a whole other kettle of fish we can open on that one.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's that thing of like the comparisons to the Nazis, the comparisons to
it didn't happen instantly.
The big. Well, but what I mean is in the current context of I think something that the left suffers from is this kind of trigger happy. They're just waiting to use the word Nazi against somebody, and because they do that, because there is this sense of like, if anybody does anything that isn't kind of line up with what we say, if we just use the word fascist, the problem is that word loses all meaning. So that when there is actually an appropriate moment to use it, such as
I guess it's kind of like
the rest of it, it's like boy will cry wolf. It's like well we no longer kind of know what it means because it's just thrown at and there's that old thing, isn't there, about fascism? You put sort of 5 academics in a room and you'll get kind of 7 different definitions of fascism. No one can, because it's a very difficult concept. I do also think
I would say that the difference with this administration, I mean, again, this is kind of a last political point we can make, but I would actually say that there's they obviously say if it talks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it probably is a duck. I mean, literally, Inauguration Day, Elon Musk did a Nazi salute twice on national TV.
A Roman salute.
Which literally nobody had ever heard that phrase. Before that day, no one had ever heard.
Talk about whitewashing. Yeah, my God.
So I think it's like in those situations, things are so extreme that in a way it's so shocking that people don't know how to process that, because it's like, hold on a minute,
Well, there's a kind of cognitive.
We don't know how to react to this.
Yeah, and again, going back to the point that the brain can only kind of absorb so much, there is a kind of cognitive point at which you just shut down. If you keep seeing stuff that kind of disagrees with the way that you think, you do just kind of shut it out. You shut down, and so I think and I catch myself doing it sometimes, where you think, oh, well, this guy's all right, he's doing this and he's doing that, and that seems sort of okay, and everybody's, whatever. And then you think, well, hang on a minute, there was all this actually fascist stuff going on that I've kind of already forgotten about. And you have to kind of remind yourself, because you do, time heals all wounds, that whole thing. Trump is seen as more of a sort of player on the world stage now, with more of an agenda and all the rest of it. The first time he was a bit more of a sort of jester sort of figure.
I would argue that hasn't gone away. But
well, no, quite. I mean, it's
just now is more dangerous.
It's maybe less. It's just maybe less funny now.
It's less whimsical.
Yeah, it's less
more
kind of
authoritarian now.
Yeah, less kind of amusing now.